These beautiful Indians lived in the Seminole Indians lived in the Florida Everglades. He had to sit there for 2 weeks before they gave him permission to photograph them. But you can see what beautiful looking people these are. They have broad faces, naturally straight teeth. What we're seeing here is the full expression of the genetic potential because the building materials are abundant in their diet. Now let's compare our beautiful Indian princess in the upper right with someone from her same tribe. It's the same genetics, same environment, but a different diet. Her parents were eating the white man's processed food, and you can see that the face is much more narrow and the teeth are crooked and crowded. And the teeth are a mirror to the rest of the body. This is the only part of the body where we can see inside, right? But if the teeth are not formed properly, if there's not enough space for them, it's a sign that there will be problems in the rest of the body. Nothing has been formed to the maximum. So we like to say the teeth tell the tale. When the teeth are naturally straight, it means there's going to be plenty of room in the head for the pituitary, the pineal, the hypothalamus. The sinus cavities in the ear tubes will be capacious, so they will be very immune to infection. And I do like to point out that the hypothalamus is the master gland. It directs all the other glands. It's right in the middle of your head in a cavity in the skull. And so if the skull is narrow, there's not going to be as much room for the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is the seat of impulse control. And when we think of traditional cultures, the Native Americans, for example, we think they were people with great impulse control. They could withstand suffering and privation. They didn't react quickly to things. They had impulse control. When we think of our children today, what are we seeing in our young people today? We're seeing lack of impulse control. This all goes back to the diet, the preconceptual and the pregnancy diet. So if the teeth are straight, we see good skeletal development, good musculature. When the fetus is starting to grow, there's a cell that divides and divides till you get 32, and then that divides and half go to the teeth and half go to make the spinal column. So the spinal column and the teeth are very much related. And if there's plenty of room for the teeth and the teeth are well formed, then spinal column will also be well formed and strong. Keen eyesight and hearing. Now let me just ask how many in this audience need corrective lenses, glasses or contact lenses? Okay. It's about 70% of us. Now if we were a tribe and had to survive by hunting, and only 38% of us had perfect eyesight, I don't think we would make it. So keen eyesight and hearing, optimal function of all the organs, and then we have the mental nourishment, because our mental outlook, the way we think, our optimism, all that depends on good nutrition. And Dr. Price was always intrigued by how optimistic and happy these people were. They laughed a lot. Everyone seemed to get along. And finally, when the face is broad and round, the pelvic opening is round. And that is the perfect shape for the baby to come through. And this was an observation that all of these early explorers and anthropologists made, was how easy childbirth was. Okay, if the teeth are coming crowded and crooked, it means there's going to be compromised space for the master glands in the head. There'll be poor development, poor posture, easily injured. Now they're actually restricting time on the playgrounds because the kids get injured. They're just bouncing around out there. That's not normal. Poor eyesight and hearing. Eyesight is one of the first things to go. Compromised function of all the organs, so the pancreas, the heart, kidneys. There's far less cells in the kidney, far fewer cells in the kidney when the child is poorly nourished. And then you see the mental aspects, the depression, behavior problems, learning problems, and finally, the pelvic opening will not be round, it will be oval, and that is not a good shape for the baby's head to come through, and childbirth becomes very painful and life-threatening.